Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shamayo. We're MeWe Metaphysical and Wellness Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest. We're in Seattle, Portland, Salem, and Eugene. And we also offer our events online. We have a lot online right now. We interview our practitioners and our vendors so you get a chance to know who we are before you meet us at an event. I'm here today interviewing Kendara Laurel. Kendara, it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you. It's wonderful being here, Lorelei.
So great. Well, so tell us, what is it that you do? What do you offer at our events?
Well, I'm an intuitive counselor. I offer a combination of intuitive readings, somewhat channeled, tarot, I Ching, and belief shifting. And the belief shifting is basically discovering beliefs which hold you back, often from childhood, and changing the way you look at them. And replacing the negative thoughts with a positive one, something that can empower you, which gets into manifestation. Kind of go with what comes up at the time, what the people need. But I think if you were to ask me what I really do, I think I empower people.
That's great. Do you want to say a little bit about, and your cat is visiting us too, just that everyone knows.
Loves the energy. This is Gracie May. Gracie May's tail.
She's going back and forth now. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, do you want to share a little bit about what each of the modalities is? You shared a little bit about belief shifting and then,
Thank you. Well, when I was 50, I took Reiki 3 and became a master teacher, but I don't do Reiki. What happens is I started channeling. So this channeling came into all of my readings where I open up and let the energy come in, and it's incredible. Tarot, I think, is pretty self-explanatory, but people ask a question and we do the tarot. I Ching. I Ching goes back to Confucius. It's a form of divination where you connect with your higher self. And so you ask a question and you throw 3 coins 6 times. And you find beliefs, you find behaviors that are blocking you. It's a manual for self-behavior, because if you ever noticed, I've noticed that when there's a block in one area, it's in every area. Like maybe I'm not communicating with. It helps you find it and lets you know the things that you can do to change it. Basically, you're becoming your own psychic. You're connecting with your higher self. And who doesn't want to do that? The belief shifting, I have a graduate work in counseling. Belief shifting is amazing. It goes back to Gay Hendricks and a lot of other people like, I can't think of any, Lynn Grabhorn. But anyway, what you're doing is you're discovering beliefs that you've been held back by. And often you can find them just by talking to someone and they'll say something. You go, okay. And then I ask them to give me a thought that's holding them back. I think that. And then we get into the part, well, how does this make you feel? And they put down all the adjectives about how they feel with this belief. And then I'll ask them if they're like it. Are you really like this? Are you always like this? And if they say yes, I go, darn it. But if they say no, you've just ruined the reading. Let's do tarot. But if they say no, then I ask them how they would feel if they didn't have these thoughts. And what's so interesting is people are writing down the beliefs. So with the first part about the negative self-defeating beliefs, the handwriting is tiny and it's tight. And then how would you feel if you didn't have this belief? It's loose. It's amazing. It's almost like 2 different people.
Wow.
It's mind-blowing. I love it. It goes back to Byron Katie, who wrote a book called Loving What Is. And then after we've done that, we have them take the first sentence and change it by writing down 3 different sentences where they're changing the thought. It's incredible. And then I give them a number, like on a scale of 1 to 10. How did you feel when you started? Well, I felt like a 3. Well, how do you feel now? And they'll light up. But I love it. So I think what I do if somebody comes in, and I do it at tonight's event, which I'm excited to participate in, is somebody will go, I'd like a session, and we'll go and I'll go, okay, what would you like to talk about? And 9 out of 10 times it's something. And I find with the people at your events, and I'm sure you do too, it's spiritual. What's the next step? What do I need to do? And then we just kind of sit there. If they don't really have a question, we'll do the I Ching. what do you need to know at this time? And I love doing it. I've been doing it for about 45 years.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I know we didn't talk about this ahead of time, so I don't know if you have anything that's easily accessible. Do you have any of the tarot cards that you use? Do you want to talk about
Oh,
what they are or show anyone? Or
oh my gosh, absolutely. Let me get my little deck, which is right here. That's one of the nice things about the virtual interviews. Okay, visual aids.
it's great.
I want to share the coolest thing in the whole world with you. I know it sounds like it's a broad statement, but you wait and see.
Ah, we get to see what this is.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I hope I can find him. If I can find him, I'll be... Okay, so basically, have you ever heard of the Osho's Zen deck?
I have. I've heard of it.
There's a woman who did that book. Her name is Ma Deva Padme. I think she channeled it. She also came up with a deck of cards called the Tao deck. And the Tao deck...
Down a little bit lower, a little bit further away from the camera. Now up a tiny bit. Yeah, okay, great. People can see it now, yeah.
Yeah, so the Tao deck is an I Ching deck. It's got 4 cards, and each card is based on one of the hexagrams. So let me just show you how absolutely beautiful they are. This is probably my favorite type of reading to give. So this card is number 40. It's called Deliverance. I'll turn it around. Let me know when you can see it.
Can see it. Down a little bit lower. Yeah, that's great. No, up a little teeny bit higher. Yeah, that's great. You can come into the camera ever so slightly too. Oh, it's beautiful.
And look,
yeah,
see on the bottom, you'll see there are keywords.
Mm-hmm.
So I have somebody ask a question, and then they draw a card. Okay? After that, we read what it says. But then they do the second part of the I Ching, which is throwing 3 coins 6 times. And you come up with a different hexagram. Then I compare the 2 hexagrams and just read the lines that are different. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And then we do one more thing called the nuclear hexagram. And that's where you read the middle part of the hexagram, lines 2 through 5. And it's a crux of it. It's a core of it. I love the I Ching because the thing is, you're becoming your own reader. But there's no, I love the cards, love the tarot, been doing that for years. But there's still interpretation and I love it. But with the coins, with the I Ching, it isn't. I learned it from a Native American shaman named Howard Badhand about 40 years ago. And I was reading at a psychic place called Crystal Light, no relation to the drink. And someone kept talking about Howard. And I have a great sense of humor in case, which is good. You can't be too serious. But anyway, someone kept talking about Howard, and I agreed to meet him. And we pick him up. He lived on Rosebud in South Dakota, but he would come to Denver once a month. And I meet this little tiny Native American man who's shorter than me with gray braids and a headband. And he takes my hand in his and he goes, "You're very intuitive. You have to be careful how you use it." I teach. And once a month for a year and a half, he would come to Denver and we would go out to dinner and then we would do that. Years later, literally 10 years later, he was at this place called Mile High in Denver, which gets a lot of big people. You've heard of it. Yeah, you've been here before. And someone said, "Your teacher's here. I know Howard was one of your teachers. Would you like to go see him?" So I went in, and I'm sitting in the audience. And this man I have not seen for 10 years looks at me and goes, "Hi, it's good to see you." So I love the I Ching. And then, of course, 5 million other tarot decks. This is one of my favorites. It's called the Renaissance deck, and it's just beautiful. And then the Rider-Waite. So I think it's interesting. For me, meditating twice a day is the secret to opening up the connection. If you meditated, you wouldn't need anything else. Well, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get what I mean.
That's great. So do people come to you with all kinds of different questions? Are there themes that people typically bring?
That's a really good question. I've I've noticed that they come and it goes in spurts. Like I read at a I'm in Denver, metaphysical store once a week. And it seems like people will come in with the same theme for that day, which means I need to look it up. But honestly, a lot of it is, what's my path? Another part of it is not letting other people's beliefs block them. It's the wanting to be empowered. And 9 times out of 10, literally, I will say to them, well, what would you do if you could? And they know. They really, really know. So yeah, in answer to your question, there are things, relationships to some extent, and then also the ones about the beliefs. Health a little bit, but you've got to be so careful with the health because I'm not a doctor.
Mhm.
And the way I do it is if I'm talking to someone and I get the word dentist, I'll say to them, I'm getting the word dentist. Now it's up to you what you do with it. And then sometimes, and this is very, very rare, I'll feel the need to do a healing on them. And when that happens, I probably won't even get up. I'll just say to them, can I? And I'll just sit there with my hands across the thing.
Yeah.
But I love what I do. My idea is to put myself out of business. Don't keep coming back to me.
Oh, that's great. If people want to learn more about you, connect with you on the web, where do they go?
Please do. My website is Kendara Laurel, Kendara, Laurel.com. I'll be at tonight's event. I also have an introduction to metaphysics meetup, and people can go to that and see amazing speakers. And you just go meetup.com. We had a medical intuitive last week. We've got someone coming next month who channels the archangels. So I'd say my website's probably my best bet. Or you can email me at Kendara Laurel, very original, at gmail.com.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Kendara. It's been lovely hearing what you do. I'm excited that more people will get to experience your work.
Well, thank you. I've loved this. I'm excited to be a part of all of this, Lorelei. What you're doing is so incredible.
Thank you.
Thank
And for
you.
those of you listening and watching, you can find out more about us and all of our events at MeWeFairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. Thank you.
Thank you.